All right, what's up, legends? So I'm going to make a video on how to actually go about networking and how I built a network of multimillionaires before the age of 26 in a completely unconventional way, because I think traditional networking is completely broken. And so in this video, I want to share how I think about networking, how I go about relationship building, how I go about maintaining those relationships, why I think it's all wrong. A principle I call the surplus principle. It's a cheat code I use to develop really strong relationships. I'm going to use real examples, and I want to show you exactly how you can do this. It's incredibly unconventional. I haven't heard it anywhere, but it's worked really, really well for me. And so in order to stay on track, I did take some notes. I'm not reading from a script. This is all from the top of the dome, but I am going to make sure I'm staying on track here. Okay. So first things first, what a lot of people do when they're going about traditional networking is they're just trying to get a business card, get maybe a phone number, a LinkedIn connection, things like that, but you're not actually building a relationship. I think we have to figure out what the goal actually is when it comes to building relationships with people. See, actually, that's a great example. I'm not networking. I'm building relationships with people. I'm not expecting to spray and pray. I'm going very deep on a few meaningful relationships. Now, I'm going to lots of people and I'm having conversations, but I'm going in with less of the intention of trying to tell them how cool I am and more of just me figuring out if I like them. And if I figure out that they're an interesting person by asking good questions, then I'll stay around and I'll continue to deep dive. If I can find commonalities with them, then I'll share information, then I actually follow up on that relationship. I'm not networking for what I can get out of the relationship. I'm networking to build a relationship with someone. That's kind of how I approach that. And I just think most of it's short-sighted. I think a lot of people think about how they can transact with people. And, it definitely works. You can definitely get sales from networking. And if you're networking the right way, business will eventually come from it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That said, if you're going in with the intention to make sales, you're not going to make any deep or meaningful relationships, in my experience. I could be wrong, but this has worked really well for me. Okay, so that leads me to my next point is, how am I able to get into rooms that I don't quite belong in, right? That I don't really have anything else to offer. First of all, I believe that I do. So I have conviction in myself to believe that I'm a good person, that I belong in the room, despite maybe not financially belong in the room. I believe that I inherently bring some type of value by just me being there. Now, what a lot of people do is they oversell themselves, and they're concerned about impressing people, and they want people to think that they're really cool. And so they focus too much on trying to be interesting and less on trying to be interested. I think if you can start to learn how to ask very thoughtful and specific questions that are actually meaningful to you and interesting to answer, will, one, tell people that you're a creative thinker, and it'll also get you specific answers that you can take action on. I think that's one. I think it signals to them a lot of things, which is, one, that you're humble and that you're willing to learn. People love people that are willing to learn. I think people can smell the authenticity behind that. They can smell the humility behind that, and people will want to hang out with you more. It's also like a version of reverse charisma, because you're genuinely interested in the other people, and people love when people are interested in them. So don't fake it. Ask meaningful questions. And if you're not interested in the person because I'm getting a call. I'll pick this up in a second. I got to answer this call. Hello? Okay. That was not a fun call, but it's all right. Another day, another dollar. And life happens for me, not to me. Back into the video. So anyways, if you're not interested in the other person, just maybe don't try to build a relationship with them. Like, don't fake it just so you can get something out of it. That's controversial, but I believe that. I'm not going to try to fake something I'm not to try to transact and make money. I don't want to do business with those people. No, that's a little extreme. I only won't do business with people if I don't agree with how they choose to do business, and if I feel like it's not ethical. That said, if you're just not interested in someone, it's okay to move on to the next person, is what I'm trying to say. I had a really hard call, so I think I have a little bit more intensity right now. We should be coming from love. right. Okay. Now going back to my notes here. Let's see. Okay. So how I'm different personally. I'm incredibly authentic. And I think when I first got started, I wasn't trying to do that, but I'm myself all of the time. And I think what I realized is the more that I'm myself, the more that I'm not trying to be anybody else, the more that the right people are attracted to me and I'm repelling the wrong people. So there's a quote I have heard recently by Mark Manson, who he wrote Settle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Um, it's better to be disliked for who you are than to be liked for who you're not. That's something that you should either write down or think a lot about. The more that you double down on yourself, the more that the right people are going to want to hang out with you. That is my opinion. I also am the first one to get vulnerable. I don't know if I've already said this in the video because it was like an hour since I've recorded it, but I'm the first one to get vulnerable. What that does is it breaks down people's walls and it tells them that it's a safe place for them to be vulnerable too. They'll also give you a lot more compelling advice because you're not trying to fake someone that you're not. Now, it's not to say you should be trying to do woe's me or trying to come from a victim place because that's weird energy. But it is to say, like, as an example, I'm having a lot of meetings with investors, people that are buying big deals. I tell them, and this is true, the truth is last year I had chased money all of my early 20s. And it took until I met some of my money goals. And what had happened was it got into a ski crash and I slowed down. I couldn't walk for about a month. And because I slowed down for the first time in a long time, I realized that I didn't like what I was doing. And instead of listening to that voice, which would have been the right thing to do, I chose to medicate myself and numb myself to that voice. And I chose a bunch of meaningless distraction. I drank more than I should. I partied a lot more. I just did a lot of meaningless stuff because the truth is I didn't like what I did. And that led me to a decision of deciding to give up everything in pursuit of chasing my curiosity and doing bigger stuff for bigger stuff's sake. Because that is what gets me excited and that is what makes me want to work. And I've cut out everything I needed, or I cut out everything that was holding me back. I cut out drinking, I cut out dating, I cut out nicotine. There's other things I cut out too that I'm not going to share with you too, but I cut out a lot of things, okay? That is a much more compelling and real, authentic, vulnerable story because I'm not trying to impress them. I'm just trying to be convicted in who the fuck I am. That is how you share vulnerability. And everybody else is trying to sell people who they are, but they are wearing a mask. If you do not wear a mask, you find a way to tell a compelling story and you're honest about your vulnerabilities, I promise you, people are going to want to open up to you more and pour into you. This is how you build meaningful relationships. I do not call it networking. I call it building meaningful relationships. And if I do not jive with someone or they do not jive with me, I do not care because I am rooted in who I am. That is important. Okay, next note. I'm always trying to learn from these people too. I'm trying to hang out because I am coming from a humble place and I really want to learn how to play the game. The only thing I'm really interested in them giving me is to learn their cheat codes of life. Now, everyone else wants something from them because they have something that people want. So they are used to people trying to put out their hand and expect something in return for it. I do not do that. I believe in what I call a cheat code. And I reflected a lot on my life and tried to figure out what am I doing that's a little bit different? What am I doing that allows people to pour back into me? I call this cheat code that I've discovered the surplus principle. I believe that you should be giving at minimum 60% and only taking 40%. You should always be in surplus. Now, the more that you give over a long enough time horizon to the right people, it will eventually compound, but it does take a very, very long time. But people are as much, if not more leverage than money itself. And I do not care about being taken advantage of because if I am taken advantage of, then it is not the right person to be doing business with. And I should just learn the lesson and move on. Now, a lot of people operate from a place of scarcity. I do not do that. I bought an apartment building because my relationships have compounded. I've been able to raise millions of dollars because relationships compounded. I have still also been taken advantage of. I have still gotten technically fucked over, as people would call it, but I don't view it that way. I just learn the lesson and move on. I'm not worried about people taking advantage of me. And honestly, I expect it to some degree. But I am so, yeah, that doesn't need to keep being said. Now, example of this into play. It is important that what you're giving is actually valuable to that person, because what a lot of people do is, hey, can I shadow you for a day? That's all take. Hey, can I have this connection from you? I'll take. Hey, would you do X for me? Like, what would you do in this? It's take, 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 take. No, don't do that. So when I first got started in real estate, I didn't know how to call people. And someone gave me a script and told me how to do it. And I really wanted to get good at sales. And I recognized that practicing would probably be a good way to do that. So instead of saying, hey, would you mind role playing with me? I said, hey, I have a script that you gave me. And I bet you there's a bunch of leads that you don't want to talk to anymore. Could I maybe call those leads for you for free? And in exchange, could you teach me how to call those leads so I actually give you good leads? Yeah. So we cold called. So we role played once a week, twice a week sometimes for a few weeks because I respected his time, but it gave me what I needed. And he actually almost got a deal because of it. So another time is I was looking for social media advice, and this guy had been running podcasts, and I didn't have any money to pay him. So what I did is I found out his daughter wrestled, and I coached wrestling. So I said, hey, can we barter services? Can I coach your daughter in wrestling for a few weeks, and then you give me social media advice? He said, yeah. So we did that. A mentor of mine, or an early mentor of mine, I paid money to be my coach. Now, a lot of people, again, still ask him questions, and that makes sense because they're his coach. I cared more about building a good relationship with him and wanted to show him that I was different. And so we were at a mastermind. I guess it's less of a mastermind, more of just like a get together with all the community members. And everyone was saying the same thing. They wanted to be better on the phone. They wanted more accountability. But Jason, well, but this mentor of mine, he didn't have the time to do it. So I was really good at cold calling because I had cold called 20,000 plus people and been in the business for 2.5 years. I said, hey, can I lead a weekly accountability call for you? He said, yeah. And then all of a sudden, he was taking my phone call whenever I needed it. And I did that for a year for free. Not because I needed something from him. I honestly don't even know that I've cashed anything out from him. But I know that if I called him, I would get an answer. I know that if I needed help, he would help me, right? I'm not giving with the expectation that I need something out of it. What I got out of it is I got to learn how he thinks. I got a valuable relationship. I'm constantly trying to pour into my relationships. That is fundamentally what makes me different. I mean, and there's tons of other examples, but those are the first ones that come to mind. Over deliver. If someone asks you to give a speech, prepare an unbelievable speech. I was asked to give a talk or if you guys have been watching my videos, I was asked to give a talk, and I could have just put something together and it could have been fine. I spent 20 hours on it. Yeah, 20 hours because I wanted it to be so unbelievably good. When you're asked to do something, over deliver and under promise. You want to build a reputation around giving more than you take and over delivering on the promises you make. That will compound too. That is your reputation. Reputation compounds, network compounds, your knowledge compounds, and your skills compound. Money does too, but everything else is a byproduct, or money is a byproduct of everything else. You should not be focusing on money, in my opinion. You should be focused on becoming a version of yourself that you want to be. You do that by keeping promises to yourself. All right, so this is okay. That time we stopped the video because the car was full, and I have a bunch of backlog videos I'm trying to make. And anyways, turned off, back to it. I think that you become someone, I don't even know where I was at, but I assume it's somewhere about becoming who you need to become. That said, you need to become someone that is worthy of hanging out with. You do that by keeping promises to yourself, by having a track record of following through, by taking action despite believing in yourself, and building a reputation of over-delivering, in my opinion. Okay, let's see. All right, so how you can actually do this. I don't really like the way this is. There we go. Okay. How you can actually do this. You have to figure out who you would trade shoes with. You have to recognize that you don't have to love everything about that person to learn something from them. Go in with a humble heart and ask meaningful questions that are also specific to you, that are thoughtful. and then take action on those things that they say. And then you should follow up with them and let them know the action that you took and what change it made for you. Winners love hanging out with winners, so that's helpful. You should add value before you ask for anything. So try to find ways to give something of value to them, whether it's time, skills, a network, or relationships, I guess. Shit, could even be good energy if you have it. If you have nothing else, pay them money. Everyone else is trying to ask for a handout, so that'll work well too. Yeah, make intros, solve problems, give more than you take, stay in surplus for a really, really long time. Don't give with any expectation. And I would expect to stay in surplus for at least 6 to 12 months. Don't expect immediate results. Compound interest does take time. The deeper that you're able to maintain these relationships and the more that you give to them, I promise you they will start to come around. It's been very, very true for my life. Again, realize that this is about building relationship capital, and relationship capital is one of the most important things that you could build. And if you are stepping over people to get the dollar, you need to realize that you need other people to make money. And if you focus on building meaningful relationships, money will always follow. I can promise you that. So, anywho, this is kind of the direction that I'm going to be taking my YouTube, and I'm going to be sharing the lessons. So if you guys actually resonated with this, it's very helpful for me. If you drop a comment, let me know what you got from it, what you want to see more of, and subscribe. That tells me that you guys like what I'm doing. And I don't know what I'm doing with any of this. I feel called to do it, and I want to serve, and I want to help. And I genuinely am starting to get mad by me not sharing it. And I can thank a mentor of mine that told me to start doing less scripted, less edited stuff, and just take action. So that was 3 days ago. And since then, I've made 2 videos. So I'm taking action on it. I'm not going to tell you anything I don't believe in. And and you better believe that I've already texted him, I took action on what he said. I follow through on what I'm talking about. I'm never going to tell you something that I do not know for a fact works or I have not tried before. And if I do, I will admit I have not done it. So anywho, I hope you guys go network. I hope you guys build meaningful relationships with successful people. I hope that you guys crush. And I hope that you know that all of this content is geared towards helping you. So yeah, thanks guys. I don't know when the next video is, but it'll come soon. Oh shit, before we roll the credits, last thing I want to say, you need to know that you're the product. You're the product. So beyond the deal, beyond the numbers, you're the product. You're what's worth investing in. If you're not someone worth investing in, that's where the work starts. The work starts in the mirror. Start keeping promises to yourself, do cool shit, persevere through hard times, and make a compelling story. Build a track record on following through on your promises. Build a reputation around giving more than you take. And realize that the product that you are selling is you. And that'll serve you well, I promise. I just felt like that needed to be said.